Guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Team Shift channel. We're with Joe at UK Nationals, who just finished top 32 playing branded. And yeah, hand it straight over to you. Do you want to give us a deck profile?
Yeah, I play branded. I played a pretty standard list. There's no gimmick puppet here. For those of you may be aware, the YCS and the Nationals this weekend, the Banlist dropped literally mid-event.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice, is actually this list isn't affected by that at all. So you can play this going straight into the next format. It's probably what I'm going to do, to be honest. The list is quite standard. There is some spice though. Some people may or may not have heard this stuff yet, but I really enjoyed it. So I went 9-1 in Swiss. My only loss was Kashdira, which was round one opponent. Left with really good tiebreakers though, because I finished third. So yeah, really happy with that. So
awesome.
Get into this.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm on the triple Albaz. I don't think there's a reason to drop this stone any lower anymore. The effect of this is actually really relevant. Being able to fuse with a lot of stuff. You can send the Rinbrum to use the effect of the opponent's turn. You can quem it back and that sort of thing. You don't want to lose too many of it off of Kashdira banishes. So I think 3 is definitely the correct number there. Opening it going second is also just really nice. It gets negates out. So then we've got triple Aluba. Nothing really to talk about with that one. The other Bestial cards we're playing are the Tragedy and the Ad Libitum. So I tend to go for the Tragedy board. So sorry, the Ad Lib board. So that's the one that goes through the Lubellion, the fusion monster. So I'm trying to end on the old board, the branded and red plus Ad Lib. Just find that with no gimmick lock, actually this board puts up enough interruptions and guaranteed follow-up that you just win every time you go first anyway, and you don't need to play the brick that lets you auto-win if the expulsion resolves, for example. We are playing a brick, so we are on the Dark Magician, but this is because the card is so good going second, making the Tribune just OTKing people, and it's sort of your silver bullet against Kashdira sometimes. I do have to play a little carefully, because I'm not on certain ratios of cards in the extra deck that allow me to hand trap them or allow them to use the Diabolosis, so usually be careful there. But yeah, so we are playing Dark Magician. For the other sort of branded support cards, so we're on Tri-Brigade Mercuria, Albion the Searing Dragon, Shrouded Dragon, apologies. I'm on double Cartasia. I like this just as a starter card sometimes. It's an extender, it recurs itself back every turn, it kind of does everything. I don't think I'll just play one of it. You could drop it down to 1, you would reduce the deck count, and that's also fine, but I wanted to play 2. Guiding Quem the Virtuous. This card is incredible. If you don't play branded and you just happen to be watching this video, you need to read this card, because it does everything and anything for the deck now. It's a starter. You can build a board by starting Quem plus Cartasia. It punishes your opponent for not reading it properly. It punishes your opponent for trying to play under it. It's got okay stats if they just try and normal summon something. It's possible they can't just run over it. It kind of treats itself as a little bit of an ad-lib card, where if you fuse and you don't have access to ad-lib, you can use this to summon your monsters back in their turn, like you would with the ad-lib. So you can summon the Mirror Jade back without access to ad-libitum. There are times you can Mirror Jade them 3 times in their turn because of this. So I really like them. The card I was playing, this next slot, is Incredible Ecclesia the Virtuous. So if you play Sorcerer, you know what this card does, but you probably don't know that it has an Albaz effect. So in the same way as it can summon a Sorcerer monster, it can actually summon Fallen of Albaz. It can also special summon, again, if you are going second and they have a monster you don't, or they have more monsters than you can summon it. So again, we're talking about how Albaz is so important for its actual effects to try and fuse with their board. The Ecclesia lets you do that going second, but also if you leave it up on board, it's then an interruption on the following turn. You can tag out during the main phase into the Albaz. It also has the same recursion effect as the Cartasia, so it just brings you back card advantage every single turn, and then you get to do it again when you play into their board again. Most people aren't killing me if I just make my standard board, and then in end phase I get like 3 or 4 effects, like this, Albion, that sort of thing. I really like the card. It's also sendable off the Quem, and it's revivable off the Quem. I did play the Bestial still. That's because of certain opening lines with the Cartasia. I wasn't really going for this board though. I don't think I went down this line at all over the weekend, but the fact that the cards were there certainly helped. So then on to spells, played the Gold Sark, you can banish Tragedy and Mercuria. My loss in Top Cut was an unfortunate one. Essentially, I lose game 1 and game 2 I brick, and then the time the Gold Sark gets me for not playing double Tragedy or for double Mercuria, it happened then. I lost my Tragedy and my Mercuria to being in my hand or banished face down. But otherwise, this card is really good. The fact that it can get you Ecclesia to start playing into the board going second, or the Cartesia as like a bit of an extender, I think it deserves a spot in the deck, even for the times you draw the targets. Triple deployment, summons Cartesia, summons Dark Magician, summons Albaz. We've heard enough about this card. Branded Fusion, triple opening. Opening can summon Quem, which is really nice to make in certain boards. There are times because of this summoning Quem you don't even need to use the fusion, or you can do everything and they're holding Ash for the fusion and you just don't need to even get to this. You've already made a board by the time they fire off the Ash Blossom for this. The last of the branded spells, we're playing Branded Lost and Branded Red. Again, I'm trying to end on this in this list. Because I'm still on the Bestial Rebellion Saranir, I am on the Lost. Again, it still helps going second into certain boards, so I still want it in the deck. I did try a list that didn't play either of those and was considering dropping this and the Mercuria, but again, to do with opening numbers, that sort of thing, I put it back in. And because we are on that stuff, we are still playing the Retribution. Very nice for sort of those games where you're just firing hand traps at each other, but you get to send this to grave and you get a guaranteed fusion next turn. Or for letting you use a red on your turn and then you Retribution add the red back to hand. Last cards in the deck are all just a non-engine, so it's triple Ash Blossom, triple Draw and Lock, triple Impermanence, the triple Crossout Designator, and then I was on Nibiru's, and in the end Nibiru would have been very good because the Kashtira players were just going for the full combo that would have played into the Nibiru's, but I dropped them before the event and put in 2 talents. It's a pseudo crossout in that the opponent gets punished for trying to Ash you or for hand trap you. The best is when your opponent draws you and you're not searching anymore anyway, because his deck doesn't really get hit by it, other than on the Gold Sarcophagus. And then you get to TTT them, look at their hands, and it's so much advantage, and knowing then what cards you need to hit with the ad-lib board means that you should just win that game on the spot. So the main deck is 44. So we'll just have a look at the extra deck. So double Albion or Lubellion. Again, as I said, trying to just be a little bit more careful about triggering certain Kashtira cards, making sure we're hitting different things so we don't lose this. But you wanted to put this back every time anyway. Played 2 Mirror Jades. Then we are on the Albion the Sanctifier Dragon. Very good for giving your Kashtira player a monster, so you can't special their Kashtiras. Plus the fact they can summon things like the Ecclesia, the Cartesia, the Quem. It does so much for you, and it's an interruption just as strong as the Mirror Jade. Then we play Titaniclads. Again, can summon Quem off this card and the Albaz. Oftentimes I'm trying to send the Titaniclad first with the Mirror Jade effect in their turn, because it gives me that Albaz effect in the end phase. Rinbrum, never made it, but the Grave effect is really, really strong on this. And then the Sprint, which is one of the best things to make using your opponent's monsters when you summon the Albaz, because of its ability to move and destroy more cards. So that's sort of all the Albaz fusion stuff. So then I'm on 1 YuGiOh. I'm only on the 1 because I'm not on the Puppet Lock. So I don't feel like I ever need a second one to try and, there are times when you're doing the Puppet Lock where you need to play using this card, but then you Puppet Lock them in their turn by starting by making this card. And then you send the puppet in. But I'm not doing that, so I don't want a second one. There wasn't really a time I wanted a second one. I just make sure to play better. The stuff you make sort of off the reds and things like that, Guardian Chimera, Dragon Stapelia, we've got the Dragoon, and the last 2 cards are the YuGiOh targets, which is the Quiritus and the Lulu Valadith. The Lulu is really nice here because I'm on the Ecclesia. If I open quite brick, but I do have the Cartesia, I can fuse into the YuGiOh, sending the Lulu, and then the end phase, the Lulu will summon the Ecclesia to my board, give me an interruption, allowing me to fuse with using the effect to summon Albaz with whatever they have. And then just going on to the main deck, so the Kashtira cards, so we have double Santa Claus, triple Kurikara, All of these were really, really strong, really liked them. The Kurakara, I did the most work in a Swordson matchup where I had to try to get them to play as much as possible and then Kurakara them for game, bringing back a Baron. And obviously these cards are quite flexible, they can come in against a lot of stuff going second. Cosmic Cyclones, these are here because I have to respect the fact that people will still put in anti-spells, even if it's not as prevalent in the format. And people on like Sprite, Mathmech will put in Grave of a Super Ancient Organism. I also just put this in going first against Kashtira. If they play the field spell, I will most likely Cosmic it, but if my board is good enough, I can wait until they play the Birth. We've got some Bestials for the mirror match and for the Mathmechs. So this gives us 5 in total. We have the advantage of, because we're still on the Lubellion, when we Magnum up people, we can do what the Dragon Link does, where we add Lubellion, and then Lubellion has us another Magnum up next turn. I wanted to play more, but in the end I only played 1 Mathmech and 1 mirror match. And the last card on the side deck are the Unfair Floodgates, which is there can be only 1. I started off the day by siding this against Kashtira, and decided against it once I sort of sat and thought more about it, what that actually means. It's not something I've actually done a lot of testing with, but it's more about thinking about the matchups I was going to play against. This went in going first against almost everything bar Cash in the end. Really good against Mathmech. Anything random like Sword Soul, Fuanderies. It has so many decks going first, it's just worth a spot. So that's the list. Like I say, it's 44 cards in the main. Didn't play the Puppet Lock, so you feel free to play this list after the ban list drops. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop a message below. Just some shout outs. So big shout outs to the Chesterfield community. Done a lot of testing with them over the last couple of weeks, especially Jamie. Shout outs to the rest of the team, obviously. They get fed up of me talking about branded theory in all the chats, given that I'm the only one playing it. But it's worked out in the end, and I'm glad they all sort of were there to support me. And then, please check out our sponsor, Zombie Games Cafe. We have a discount code, feel free to use it. It's in the description down below. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments box and I'll make sure to answer.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Joe, and congratulations again. See you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.